My mom is actually an entrepreneur, so I grew up in an entrepreneur family, completely different space. I'm working a construction job. I'm stuck in Canada. Love to leave Canada. And then B, hey, if I don't have to work outside in the snow and the freezing rain, that'd be great. Classic, tried multiple things, was good at coding, hated it. And for whatever reason, influencer stuff worked. We're going to start with 5 likes, and that's okay. If you build the right system and share the right content, you're going to sell on LinkedIn. I think anyone can do that. It just depends whether they're willing to learn.
Storm.
Guys, so a little technical difficulties here. Apologies for the delay, but we're entrepreneurs. We're resourceful, scrambled,
Get it done.
got it done, figured out a solution. So we got another episode of the One Network here. I got Luke with me. Pretty excited for this one. We've had a lot of copywriters on. Luke actually just hit me up a couple days ago. Hey, I'm in town doing a little New York trip, and we're like, hey, let's set up a podcast and get a collab in. So I'm curious, Luke, to get your comments on, ghostwriting, building your own business, being a digital nomad.
Oh boy.
Maybe talk some trash on the other ghostwriters that have been on the podcast. Maybe not. Also AI. But yeah, for you guys who are just joining us, we're a network of entrepreneurs, both serial entrepreneurs and early stage entrepreneurs. We sort of connect the two together. So we invest in 16, 17, 18-year-old people who are just starting businesses, connect them with investors, resources, in certain cases, clients, and get them off the ground. And that's kind of how we make money. It's a holding company of different companies. But in any case, Luke, we like to ask people generally just, how did you end up becoming self-employed in the first place?
It's a great question. First of all, thanks for having me on. Fun to be here. Love New York. I would say I love your podcast, but I haven't watched a single episode, unfortunately. But if you name the other ghostwriters, I'd be happy to do a little shit talking. No problem at all. But how did I get to be an entrepreneur? My mom is actually an entrepreneur, so I grew up in an entrepreneur family. She was not a digital entrepreneur. She was a landscaper. So I grew up in a completely different space, doing landscape construction, and then carpentry after that. So that's where I started off.
Jesus.
Yeah. Just, hey, my name's actually John Luke Matthews. So
I know. That was like
yeah.
a biblical name. So.
I got 3 of the 4. So there's some biblical goodness there. But yeah, she was an entrepreneur, kind of grew up doing that. That's how I started. Online, started on Instagram in 2016. Was able to leave the construction space for Instagram pretty quickly. Ran a micro-influencer blog with my partner at the time. And did that for 4 years. In 2020, we know what happened. COVID hit. Instagram started dying for anyone.
China virus.
Yeah, the China virus. We can get into that. That's part of why I've been banned 10 times on LinkedIn.
I'm very curious to hear about that.
But anyways, that's where I started. Instagram first. Then I got to LinkedIn. Realized I was much better at writing than I was at being in the content. And here we are.
Yeah, so it's interesting. You mentioned your mom is an entrepreneur. So we've interviewed a lot of people, and that tends to be a formative factor because it kind of gets people past that first step where they don't know if it's believable to actually be an entrepreneur. A lot of people, if they're surrounded by people who are not in business or who are working jobs or whatever, it's kind of hard to do that. But I've noticed that people whose parents are successful entrepreneurs, they just accelerate much quicker. What was it? So you got into it around COVID, but I guess you were probably doing freelance gigs and stuff beforehand. Is that
I mean, I was managing brands on Instagram before that. Basically, I started off in the influencer space, realized that there wasn't a ton of ROI doing that, and then I started pitching them hey, why don't I actually take all the content we're sending you and see if I can get you some traffic?
Nice. So
then I realized this is much more fun than being in the content. So
okay, cool. So did you take any courses? How did you self-teach yourself? How did you start to get it off the ground?
No, I didn't take any courses. Actually, funny enough, I launched a course, but I'm an anti-course guy, so figure that one out. That's how it goes, right? But no, I just taught myself stuff. Just started writing for the influencer stuff. Okay. Realized it wasn't that hard, and YouTube rabbit trails and all that kind of stuff. So.
What type were these business influencers? I know you came in, you walked in the office here with a total smoke show. Who was? It seems like she's an influencer of some sort. How did you what types of influencers were you working with?
So on Instagram, it was actually in the sustainable fashion space. So really niche down market.
Okay.
So that was Instagram. And then on LinkedIn, not really any influencers. I guess technically I am. I've got near 200K on the platform.
Nice.
Start doing sponsored posts and things like that.
Nice.
But yeah, fashion.
Okay, cool. And so just walk me through the logistics of it. Like how quickly were you getting paid for this? You know what I'm saying? What were like some of those first steps to actually like getting clients and getting involved in the mesh?
You mean the Instagram or LinkedIn?
The Instagram, and then you can do LinkedIn.
Sure. So Instagram was actually pretty quick.
Okay.
Started as just a side hustle. Basically within a month, started getting free clothing,
Right.
free gigs. Realized pretty quickly that we could charge for it, and so pretty much within 2 months, started making money. I didn't go full time for a few years because, like I said, I was working construction. My partner at the time went full time right away, though. So
Okay, nice. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
so pretty fast.
Cool. So and then with LinkedIn?
So LinkedIn also was pretty quick. I was lucky again that I had Instagram at the time, so I didn't
Cool.
need LinkedIn to work pretty much right away for me. Came on the platform because of Gary Vee, classic answer. Realized, like, oh, it's easy here. No one's doing anything.
I know a lot of people who've said that it's Gary Vee is like what got them into business in the first place.
Yeah, it was Gary Vee / like I had a crypto fashion company on Instagram say like, hey, you need to figure out LinkedIn.
Yeah,
so both of them get some credit.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So, you mentioned being sort of anti-course. What does that kind of entail? Like, were you always that way, or
always that way?
Okay.
Yeah. So I actually, of course, my name. I have a Christian upbringing. So I found a lot of the preachers in Christianity would sell courses and audio sessions and podcasts. So I grew up and then walked away from it, and then realized like I kind of hate that they were leveraging this in this way. It made sense too because they had a big following. But the people that bought it essentially just fell for marketing. They didn't get much for it. So I'm mostly anti-course because I think most don't actually help anyone that buys them for the most part. There are some that do, but that's my mega stance, I guess.
Nice. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's the Christian angle is interesting too. I'm a Christian myself, and I apply a lot of those principles in business, and it's kind of like something that a lot of the gurus, you know what I'm saying, like the Gary V's out there don't teach, but it's an interesting sort of angle. So, okay. So like what was your objective sort of getting into the influencer stuff in the first place? Did you want to just blow up yourself, like make money? What was
it's mostly just make money online. I think like most people at the time, just, hey, I'm working a construction job. I'm stuck in Canada. I'd love to leave Canada because I don't like Canada. And then B, hey, if I don't have to work outside in the snow and the freezing rain, that'd be great. So I tried multiple things, was good at coding, hated it. And for whatever reason, influencer stuff worked. Mostly because of my partner at the time, to be honest.
And what was your partner at the time, or what was the nature? Was that like a co-founder type person?
We did it together. Yeah, we ran it together for 5 years. And she was very good at the visuals. I was the nerd in the back end.
You did the back end, kind of like copy and stuff.
Yes, sir. Copy, SEO, all the website stuff.
Cool. Okay. So I guess going a little further, a little deeper, like with these influencers, what did you find like help them grow, or what were some of the tactics that you would find yourself doing in that fashion niche?
So for me specifically, like I figured out pretty quickly the dark arts of Instagram and the space. I unfortunately couldn't do it, probably because of my biblical background. So I was in this place of like, well, shit, I know how to do all this growth hacking, meaning you know how it works, paying for engagement, panels, all the good stuff. But I couldn't do it. So a lot of people did them, man. Like you know how it is. A lot of celebrities, a lot of people that grew up and blew up fast were using this growth hacking. So I had to figure out how to do it organically, which meant slower growth. But that's why we niched down to sustainable fashion, because if I niche down, I realized I could still get the influencer work. Still.
Okay, interesting. So outside of that, like profile optimization, do you find any, anything better with that, or how does that kind of affect your?
Yeah, I mean,
outlook?
I make my profile like a landing page, essentially.
Right.
So really, my website hasn't been great in the 4 years that I've used LinkedIn. I really only started working on it this year when I launched my course to try and optimize conversion.
Right.
Before then, I honestly didn't need it. My LinkedIn profile was enough. You can actually set it up in a way to convert.
Right.
Most people, honestly, just set up a simple Calendly for booking calls. If your profile is fine-tuned to your niche and set up correctly, that's all you really need.
Okay, interesting. Do you have to niche down? Is that like a key component?
So it helps now in 2024.
Yeah.
I did not niche down at all when I joined LinkedIn. I wrote about whatever the hell I wanted.
Okay.
Pizza, bacon, like really random stuff.
just generally applicable stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, like I went broad with my content, made the profile niche down so that the profile converted, but I just wanted whoever to come check out my profile. So it depends on your strategy. I like the broad content.
Okay.
But
yeah,
2024, you probably need to niche down. It's a different platform.
Okay. So we have two audiences at the One Network. One is the early stage kind of Gary V fans, you know what I'm saying? The Cardone, the Patrick Bet David people, the boys basically. Okay. They have a lot of them, like they have, profile pictures on LinkedIn where it's like they've got like a couple gold chains and you know what I'm saying? Or whatever. They're wearing a sleeveless shirt. Okay. So, and they have like 5 connections. Okay. Because they have not been involved. They haven't like gone to college and like started nurturing the resume yet. How do you like start to, for that type of person, somebody who's just starting, like does it even matter? I guess if you want to be like a LinkedIn copywriter, or is there like kind of a thing there?
Yeah, I mean, you can be. It's different in 2024 to 2020. So I'm not going to sell them that it's easy anymore. Like we were early in 2020. Right. It's not early anymore. So if you want to win, you're going to have to put more effort in now with someone like that. If you're that young, I mean, you should have the time to do it. But yeah, you're starting behind the 8 ball for sure. Like you're going to have to engage a ton on the platform to get traction. You're probably going to have to post a ton of video because video is what gets views and reach now.
Are we talking about edited videos or just like selfie kind of?
No, I don't think you need edited videos, honestly. Like just talking to the camera, talking head style videos can still work.
Do you think you could create compelling content if you hadn't had that much professional experience?
Unfortunately, yes, on LinkedIn. Because
you
LinkedIn is vanilla.
The format.
Yes, unfortunately there's a formula to go viral and get reach. I think to sell a high ticket product, you'd be in tough. A high ticket service because you need some kind of credibility, experience, social proof with your peers. But I think as a copywriter, an entry level one, you could get enough followers and traction from following a formula that you could make an agency out of it still.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then for the separate people, so I also have people who are like boomers, you know what I'm saying? They've been doing business for a little while.
Yeah.
And
our elders.
Yeah, they're elders. They may have like I don't know. Some of them have like pretty engaged, like they've been at several exited startups.
Sure.
But their company that they're currently working on is in a either like niche industry or it's just not very exciting from a social media standpoint, like software development.
Sure.
Maybe they have some capital to throw around, but what do you do? Like you're trying to funnel people ultimately into your high ticket service or company. Like, what do you do with, if you're that type of person? Like, how do you even come up with the content? Do you just go into like the generalistic, like baby stories or?
So interesting enough, I think you can market yourself on LinkedIn, even if it's a tough niche like that. You just need the right expectations, right? So like what you were just saying and explaining to me that this is a tougher niche to win in, just knowing that when you get into it, because I think most people, when they come to me for ghostwriting or coaching, they're comparing themselves to either me, where I talk about LinkedIn, so it's the easiest way to grow and get traffic on the platform, or video marketers or whatever. And most business owners that come to me in a niche service need to be reminded, like, hey, you are not this influencer.
Right.
All you really need to sell is around 30 to 50 likes. So you have to set the expectations right, and then just create content about your business, like behind the scenes. Tell me how it works. What does a day look like? Usually you need either the CEO or someone on senior leadership willing to talk about, get in front of a camera, show themselves in pictures, write some stuff that then willing to share, or it's going to be tough.
Okay, so I guess here's another question. So we have a lot of companies that are various SaaS, software as a service. Okay, so some of them do AI messages that you write. Some of them do AI videos.
Yep.
Others are just AI copy. I've heard a lot of people on Money Twitter sort of bitch about LinkedIn, that the engagement is fake. LinkedIn. Yeah. And it's a lot of like just tit for tat type of things. Like we run an engagement group with the One Network. It's basically just, commenting on the posts. And some people, like, I know the particulars of their business, and I know like it's not like the business isn't rocking that hard, but they get like a lot of like we have one guy. I'm not going to mention this guy's name. Maybe I will. I don't think he listens to the podcast.
There you go. Go for it.
There's one guy who has like, he's in a very specific niche, and he's got every post is like day in the life. But there's just a list of like kind of random comments.
Yeah. Interesting.
Like, does that stuff matter? Like, does it help? I guess it helps your reach, right? But like for the purposes of gaining an audience, or even better, like driving them into an offer, does that help at all? Or
So I'm pretty old school. Like I said, I know the dark arts of marketing. So I'm very much an anti-pod guy, anti-engagement group, distribution. Right. The reason being not just like the ethical side of it, but actually like you build the raw audience as well. So it's not that it's only not real and you're kind of playing the fake it till you make it. You're actually attracting the wrong audience, and these algorithms are way smarter than they've ever been. I think pods worked really well years ago. Okay. Now, unless you're like the top 1% of the 1% and you really know how to milk a pod, they don't work anymore. So I think it's a terrible idea. I think people need to build properly and accept you're going to start with 5 likes. Yeah. And that's okay. If you build the right system and share the right content, you're going to sell on LinkedIn.
Does the amount of connections, like for example, I didn't do content for like my first 5 years of doing business, but I was reaching out cold to try to close clients. And so I built up like, 5,000-6,000 connections of that. Does that, the people that you get through just professional networking, like you meet them at a little coffee hour at the freaking co-working space. Yeah. Does that help your engagement, or does it help the social side of it?
It depends, again, what space you're in. Like if you're in the marketing space like me, it definitely helps, because we know they're on, if they're doing LinkedIn marketing in this space, they're going to be online all the time. If you're a software developer and you're, having coffee with other software developers, will it help your reach? I don't think it will, because they don't spend time on the platform. Will it help your business? Well, it could. You become more known in your space. So again, it depends on the niche. Right. It depends your goals. If you want more reach and you're a software developer, maybe you need to go start hanging out with marketers and graphic designers and people that are online all day.
Interesting. Can it be easily trained, do you think, just like the skill set, like for particularly copywriting? Or are there some people who are just, they're like, I know some people are not good salespepeople. Like they get on a call, they're awkward. They couldn't convince someone to do something. They're too honest. Okay.
They're too honest.
But,
that's great.
It's like, or not on, or what?
I know what you mean.
But so it's like, do you find? And you said you were anti-course before, so that's kind of like what I'm getting at, which is like, do you think it could be trained for everybody, or is it better for them to just hire Luke Matthews?
Okay, so I don't think everyone can be a great copywriter. Yeah. Can you be a decent enough copywriter to get some traction with AI now? I think you can. Like if you take, for example, my course, it's basic enough that you know the best principles for winning on LinkedIn and writing. Okay. Will you be as good as me? No, you won't. Will you be a top 20% if you're not good at writing? No, you won't. But will you be good enough to get reach and get some business from it? I think anyone can do that. Again, it just depends whether they're willing to learn. So again, it all depends how you sell it, right? The reason I hate courses is if I sold my course like, hey, anyone can get the traction that I do. Anyone can get 200,000 followers. Anyone can get 100,000. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's just how you sell it, how you position it.
That's a super interesting take, because it's kind of like the whole funnel with the courses is like selling the dream, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. I know that I missed out on a ton of money because I didn't do that.
Do sell a course?
Yeah. Like I did well. It was still a 6-figure launch, but like I could have sold a lot more if it was like, hey, you can become a LinkedIn influencer like me. You can build an agency multi-6-figure like me. No, we know that it's not true.
Maybe I'm just sour, but I feel like there's just a bad energy. Do you know what I'm saying from doing that? Because it's
agree.
Dude, like I know a guy who like he was charging like college kids like $5,000, take out a loan. You know what I'm saying?
I probably know who it is, but
the course is like not. It's not. Maybe they have like some interesting things to say, but dude, it's not worth $5,000.
Let's be honest. Like some people, like you said, they're great salespeople. Right. They've been able to play the game to build their following, and I'll say most of them are full of shit that sell these courses, and then they sell the dream. But you don't realize everything it took for them to get to where they're at, and they don't tell you either. Until you bought the course, you get inside this Discord or community, and you're like, oh, wait, there's a pod. You have to pay this much for retweets, which all the Twitter bros love. You get it. So, yeah. I'm not a big fan of like those funnels. And I actually think they are kind of going away slowly. Yeah. Hopefully, but we'll see.
Danish, who's a guy from my Discord, he's an e-com agent, or no, he's a copywriter as well. He's saying instant respect, Wi-Fi, money, space, becoming human centipedes.
I love that.
Making bigger claims that can't be felt. Okay, but here's what I think. So, but this is like another angle that you do need. It's very hard to make it quickly in entrepreneurship if you don't have somebody psychologically pushing you along.
Agreed.
And it like you have to be like like, dude, I'm a crazy person. I could do, I could stay up all night for 5 nights in a row. And there's just like no chance that I wouldn't make the business work because I would never work. I'd never had a job, period.
Yep.
But most people are not like that. And if I observe this, they work for like 3-4 months, they don't make enough money, then they fold, go back to career.
Yeah.
You kind of do need somebody to push you. So I'm almost thinking like, is it somehow like, because I do know this is the crazy thing, dude. And we mentioned some names. I've had like Dakota Robertson, Colin Gallagher, other kind of ghostwriting guys that dabble in the course space as well, who are big on like Twitter and whatnot. They, I know people who have taken courses and then they build a company based on the audience of that influencer's course.
Yes.
Okay. So it's kind of like a pyramid scheme funnel. I know. But they have like started something based off it. Like we have a guy in our community, Camilo Castaneda. He's like a YouTube guy. He's got like 100,000 subs.
Nice.
His niche is video editors.
Okay. And
he went through this other course program, which like introduced him to a lot of other people in like the money Twitter niche.
Sure.
So, but is it almost like if you spend like 10,000 on a course of money you don't have, it kind of creates an urgency in you that you don't have, or is that
I think
we're responsible thing to say?
I think we're making excuses for people.
Yeah,
I think it can happen because if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to win anyway. So we know this. If you have that DNA, you can take the wrong course, learn a very painful lesson and still win. And maybe it adds motivation for you, but I think that still is taking away the fact that these pyramid schemes and these courses, they're a problem. And I know people that have taken $5,000, $10,000 ghostwriting, and they're back trying to pay off this debt. And I have a problem with the creators that do it because I know they know better. And so for me, I'm very anti-course, anti-selling the dream.
What about the group element of it?
But I think that's the difference is like people do need coaching, right? Now, are they pure bet entrepreneurs if they need someone pushing them? I would argue that they're probably not. So again, there's still an element of, should you really have to sell an entrepreneur to actually get out of bed? No, but we know we need community. So there is value in community, but is there any current community that's actually pure like that, where it's not just, hey, I'm doing this because I get the 5K a year. And by the way, I might show up once in a while to give you some encouragement. Should that be monetized? I'm old school. I don't think community should be monetized.
Yeah. And what about the coaching side of it?
Coaching, yes. I mean, look, people pay for coaches and athletes pay for coaches, musicians, speakers. So I think there's room for that. But again, on the LinkedIn space, like I know people charging big money for LinkedIn coaching, and they may give people the right principles, but it's not going to move the needle, man. Like it's not rocket science. We know this. Social media is not hard. You write a post, you learn the basic principles, you put the work in, you have a good offer, you sell.
But it's also like a dark truth where the people are looking for the easy solution. You know what I'm saying?
They
want to do it they don't want to grind for 3 years. They want to do it in like a day.
I know.
And it's that human fallacy where people think that like they're missing out on some secret. And then that creates the urgency and that's what gets them to buy.
Yeah, we know this. And that's the tough part. Yeah. I mean, you got to sell people still, but
they don't want to lose out on the quick get rich quick scheme rather than just becoming successful, period.
Yeah.
They really don't want to lose out on the get rich quick.
It's true. It's weird. Human psychology is strange. Yeah. But it's it's so much easier to sell that.
Exactly.
But I love the challenge of being like, look, you don't work hard enough. You can win. Here's what you need to do to win on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I like trying not to sell the dream. I probably go overboard though. Honestly, I go too far with discouraging people, where I should probably rein it in a little bit. Like you're saying, there is value for coaching and community.
Yeah.
But I've just been so scarred by what I've seen. I'm kind of like over it all right now.
Yeah. So what are your current plans? What are you trying to accomplish?
Well, in the last year, I moved to Paraguay, so I told the nomad thing.
Great country.
Yeah, moved to Paraguay, set myself up paying 0% legally in tax, which is pretty cool.
Oh, is that how it works over there?
If you do it correctly. So there's a lot. It's not as easy, especially for Americans. You can't do it, unfortunately. Your government doesn't let you do that. I'm Canadian, so I can actually do it. For now, we'll see. Canada might change the rules. So I did that. It's kind of allowed me to slow down a little bit. I gave away my clients to friends, and I fired a few. And when I kind of want to break from ghostwriting to see if I feel like I can build something that's more real. And this might sound like I'm shitting on ghostwriting. Ghostwriting's done me well. I've made good money from it, but I'd like to build something different, something beyond that. I just don't know what it is yet. So I'm kind of slowing down.
For ideas.
Yeah, I'm letting my brain breathe a little bit. You know how it is when you're going hard on something.
You can't force that creative process of coming up with like a company. It kind of just has to evolve.
And you got to give yourself some time, talk to people like you, meet new people, see where it comes. But I want to build something. I have no idea what yet. So
but that's another interesting thing is like people who have done serial entrepreneurs, done multiple businesses, interesting kind of seeing like their approach to new businesses and like, you know what I'm saying? Like how to test the idea and then like, is it right? But a lot of it is like, is it right for you?
I know.
That's the biggest thing. Cause if you're not focused on it or you're going to be like, thinking about, going to Paraguay and like you can't grind it out in New York or whatever. Like it's going to be like, it's got to align with what your lifestyle interests are.
100%. I mean, I'm obsessive. So when I work on something, like you, I'll stay up days in a row and go crazy, but I have to believe in it too. That's the difference. I feel like I
believe in it. You can't.
Yeah. Like I'm like, maybe it's that moral upbringing, that Christian thing where it's like, I put the same thing into Instagram and then on LinkedIn. But I've lost belief a little bit lately, honestly. Like,
why's that?
Again, just from having networked on the back end with a lot of the top 1% and then having seen how it all works. It's just, and what kind of content that wins. It's just, for me, it's kind of like, I don't want to put out this empty stuff. And even ghostwriting, and we can get into it. Yeah. Like I got to the point where I would just say, nobody cares about your tone of voice. No one cares to hear from you. I know how to sell for you. Just let me write. Yeah. No approvals. Just give me your account and I'll win. Yeah. And like, that's honestly the easiest way to win now. Is like, it doesn't matter what your tone of voice is really. Like I get it if you're trying to build yourself as an influencer, sure. Yeah. But if you are just an AI startup looking to scale and sell your SaaS or a tech guy, no one cares about your tone of voice. You just need to get traffic to your tool and build your account. That's good and bad, but that's just how it is. So for me, I kind of got not burnt out, but just tired of that from seeing how I'm great at it, but it's just empty and I don't have the same satisfaction from it. So I'm trying to leverage what I have. So I'm still, getting the leads and giving them off to friends. I'm still doing some coaching, some sponsored deals. But yeah, I'm just slowing down to figure out what do I want to build, man, because the passion is just not here right now.
Have you experimented with AI? Do you think like there's a use case there for copy or?
Yes, so I'm big on the AI. I was actually huge against it at the start. I had a friend that I followed and I thought he was just selling out.
AI copywriting is a great practice. If you search and try it and use all the tools, you will have great success.
You need to learn how to edit, though. Yeah. But it is, I do love AI copywriting. It gets you off, it gets you off that blank page. Yeah. Templates work, right? We know this in social. AI goes a step further. So it's templated, but a little more personal, but you still got to edit it or it's useless.
Yeah. I had somebody who I was hiring, like basically they sent me like an AI response, why they should work for the company.
Oh no.
Like a cover letter? But it was it was like a text, but it was like 20 lines. And I was like,
bro,
oh no.
You got to edit that shit. Come on.
And I know some guys who are like, AI is kind of like drop shipping and it's a niche that has like a cult like following. So like I know guys who like call the AI and they talk to retail or whatever, bland AI. Yeah. But it's interesting. So you kind of use it like as a base starting grounds for.
Yes, and I will say for me, I've done posts that are 100% AI, so I do a lot of reprompting and tweaking, and I am a big nerd in it. But I think for most people, they should just learn the basics. I mean, that's what my course does. It actually does walk them through it.
Using AI.
Yeah, just the basic level. Like it can save you. Like if you're trying to win on LinkedIn, you shouldn't be spending hours writing your content. If you can use AI, maybe spend an hour in a week and get 5 posts done, learn the editing, it's going to help you. But it's not going to do it all for you.
Okay. Interesting.
And it's not going to make you go viral and none of these lofty claims, but it will help you save time.
Yeah.
And it is great. And it shouldn't be written off.
The benefit of it is the time save, probably.
Time saves. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And you can build your own custom GPT and your tone of voice, and it gets pretty close.
Yeah.
But you still need to know, like you were saying, like what works on LinkedIn, broetry. You need to know the basics.
The expertise.
What's a good hook? What's a good call to action? What is my target audience? How do I write to them? How do I add emotion? That's what most people struggle with. How do you add emotion to your posts? A lot of guys struggle with that, especially.
Emotionless.
Yeah, they're just like I get there. I only write when I feel, though, man. Like if I feel pissed off, I sit down and write. So like I'm fortunate enough that I have time during the day. But if I feel a strong emotion, I'll get my phone out and I'll write something.
Okay.
And that helps. The big hack.
Well, it's kind of like I do music too, and it's kind of like you have to be ready to write those moments where the inspiration comes. Yeah. And it's like very hard to just like, hey, I'm 9 a.m. I'm gonna write or.
I find it tough, but I'm a creative in that way. Yeah. I know people that have their like very locked in writing time, and I can't do it. I need the creative freedom.
What's the hardest lesson that you've learned, or like most surprising thing that happened that like people wouldn't know or you wouldn't have expected kind of coming into it?
So I've been banned 10 times on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I almost lost my business multiple times.
What was that? What was the reason they gave you, and what was the real reason?
So the first time was during COVID. I'm not vaccinated.
Don't vax.
Yeah, I'm not vaccinated. So now I didn't.
No vax.
I didn't do a rant. It wasn't a Twitter style rant. All I did, I was in New York actually. I was in New York, unvaccinated during the times when you needed the card to go into a restaurant or get anything.
Yeah.
So all I did was post a picture of me eating in one of those huts that was outside. And I actually talked about how great the business owner was because they actually felt bad that they had to do it.
Put you outside.
I went along with it, but they gave me a free dessert. So I actually wrote about how cool the business owner was during a difficult time.
Okay.
It wasn't like, hey, you shouldn't get vaxxed, but I did say that I was unvaccinated, and that was enough to get me banned. And so ever since then, I think my account's flagged.
Wow. So it just keeps going down. You have to.
So what
request
happens?
it back.
Basically, people report me. I always get it back because they always find that nothing's
That's
wrong.
bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just get mass reported.
Wow. Yeah. That's
So,
crazy.
The biggest lesson I learned is that I was willing to lose my business over maintaining a sense of my own voice. And I think I would rather lose this business or any business if I can't feel true to myself in doing it.
Yeah. Well, that's a big business. We have a guy whose whole business is insuring influencers that lose their account. You could take an insurance policy out on.
Oh, dang, that's cool.
Yeah. We had
I'd like to meet
a
him,
pickup
actually.
artist who he got banned from Instagram because some crazy stalker or something reported him. And
Really?
he got it back. But yeah, I feel like
actually a
that's
cool
a
business.
sensitive thing. It's cool business, but it's that is a big risk. If you're making your whole business based off of doing content,
Yeah. Well, LinkedIn was my 100% driver. I'm a little weird in that I didn't care. I'd rather lose it all.
Yeah. But I do it. I feel like there's got to be somebody behind it who's setting the.
Well, here's what happened.
Yeah.
I won't get into the full story. Basically, I came from Instagram, right?
Yeah.
So I was in the sustainable fashion space, which is very left-leaning. Environmentalists.
You're not going down. You're not getting taken down.
That doesn't matter anymore. But basically, I didn't share anything about myself when I was on Instagram. So when it came to LinkedIn, I wrote about whatever I wanted. When those people started realizing when LinkedIn was taking off, they'd all slowly migrate. They'd find my account and they'd go, "Who the hell is this guy? Why is he far?" They call me far right, and then they just report me, man. It still happens.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so it's kind of attracting the ire of certain groups that are very intense is what the biggest risk is. You kind of got to steer away from that.
If you're smart, you would.
Yeah.
I'm not always smart, so I just run my mouth anyways.
Yeah.
Writer, right? You got to write. So.
Yeah. I don't know. But you can't care about that stuff at the same time,
I mean, if you have to have the confidence, I think, like you're saying, back to entrepreneurship. Like I believe I could build either on a new platform, a new business, if I lost my LinkedIn, or my Twitter, or my Instagram. Who cares? I can build a new business.
Sergio over here, he's triple vaxxed. He keeps bringing it up. But
Try to cancel you.
So Luke, where can people find you? I mean, obviously, we'll link your socials, but what's the best way for them to get in touch? How do people work with you?
Great question.
All the way over there in Paraguay.
So I did leave Paraguay. I'm in New York now. I'm going to be in Canada for the winter.
Okay, so you're just moving around.
Yeah. So I'm based in Paraguay. I've been there for the
gotcha.
last year. You can work with me. Actually, the best way to talk to me is join my email list.
Nice.
So my LinkedIn profile, I have a 7-day email course that's free.
Cool.
Teaches you the basics of LinkedIn, how to write with AI. If you join that, I host monthly lives for my email list that are also free. I respond to all my emails, and I've put a bigger effort onto email. So if you want to just chat with me, join my email list. If you want to work with me, right now there's only 2 ways. I don't have a lot of offers right now because, like I said, I'm trying to avoid everything.
Nice.
You can buy my AI course, or you can send me a DM and go, "Hey, Luke, I really want you to ghostwrite for me. Would you consider coming out of retirement to do it?" And we can have a conversation, or I can connect you with someone that does it. That's really good. Basically that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Luke, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me on, man.
This is One Network.
Storm.